Discovered your passion for storytelling on this stage. At what point did you realize that you wanted to pursue it professionally?
I was a freshman in high school, and actually the journey of it is I thought I was going to quit before the show. I did Les Mis at the community theater near me. And going into high school, I decided I wanted to focus on basketball in school and stuff like that. I thought I might like play at a D3 school or a D2 school.
Hmm.
Um, and I did this show because my mom essentially forced me to. She was like, no, this is like just one more time. It's a great show. I promise you'll enjoy it. I was like, okay, fine. You're my mom. I don't really have a choice. And I did it. And I met my future mentor slash audition coach slash now one of my best friends and a whole bunch of people who ended up going into the profession, kids my age who ended up in the future going into the profession. And I really got to see the impact that the arts can have.
Hmm.
Les Mis is a very emotional show, and even with a bunch of high schoolers doing it, we would have people leaving the theater crying and coming up to us and telling us what seeing the show meant to them. And it was just a very I always wanted to like make a difference somehow, and I guess seeing that it felt very clear that this is something I could make a difference with if done right. And so from there, I went to my mom and told her I want to do it for the rest of my life. And she was like, "Well, I also don't know about that." She was an accountant, but she hopped on board a few years later, and she was like really on board when she was on board.
That's a great story. And actually might be the answer to this next question, but when you look at your career as a whole, who or what has had the biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
I think my family and my friends around me for the most part. Like I said, my mentor Matt Seiler in
Yeah.
high school was a huge. He set me off on the right path. About he we had a lot of talks about what being an artist looked like, and it got me set on the path of wanting to do stuff that meant something, which I've been very grateful to be a part of projects that do really mean something. And even something like Grease that is super fun and upbeat, has these beautiful themes throughout, and even the character of Buddy has these beautiful themes throughout. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people could learn a lot from the character as well as I have, as well as my younger self would have learned so much from Buddy.
Hmm.
um, and so yeah, the people around me that are really close to me in my life continue, and I hope throughout my career continue to be the biggest influences on me.
Definitely. And Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies hits Paramount Plus on April 6th. And this is your biggest TV role to date. How did you initially come across this script? And what was it about Buddy that resonated with you?
It was sent to me by my agents. I was still in college like a year and a half ago. So I was at college doing classes, and I got the audition for it. And what resonated with me about Buddy is he he makes the bold choice, the tough decision to be honest about where he's fallen short,
Hmm.
and to be brave enough to try to move forward better than that. I think that was something that I struggled with in my younger years and still struggle with today. And so that bravery impressed me, and it was really cool to see a character that so easily could fall into the tropes of the time or of that type of character in these types of shows. It was so cool to watch it have such care taken of it, the character, by the writing team and the creative team, and they really care about this character and making him this full fleshed out human being that has this beautiful arc throughout the first
Yeah.
season, which I was super excited about because arcs are such a special thing, and not everyone gets something as big as Buddy's arc. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that.
In addition to the incredible work that you've done on the stage and screen, you're also a singer-songwriter. How much does
Yeah.
music play a role when you're preparing for a new project? And if you could pick one of your own songs that best describes Buddy's arc in season one, what would it be and why?
Hmm. Wow, that's a great question. I think for me, music plays such a huge role. Even as an actor, I have a whole playlist on Spotify that's like what I would listen to as I was getting ready for the day on.
Yeah.
I think it just brings tone and feeling so easily and kind of puts me in the way I organize my music in my normal life is I have like spring 2022, and that's over that time period. Every song that really caught me, I put on that playlist. And
Mm.
so if I go back to one that really hits me is fall 2020. I was in college, and it was a very specific few months of my life. And when I go back and listen to that playlist, it like transports me there. And so having that playlist to prepare for Buddy pretty much does the same thing. And then for the song, I have this song on my most recent EP. Um, it's called Intrusive Thoughts. And I think that would be Buddy's first season arc. It's about having hurt somebody, and the post of it having all these intrusive thoughts running through your brain about what you could have done better and how you messed up, and um, how maybe I am a bad person. And I think Buddy could have written that song based
Yeah.
on his experiences.
Definitely. The series is set in the 1950s, which is known for its iconic fashion. And you shared a beautiful post on social media about how much this experience has meant to you. What was it like getting to put on that Letterman's jacket for the first time? And how helpful was the wardrobe and costume as you stepped into this era?
Oh, it was really the thing that it was the final step in the
Mm.
character. You put on these costumes, and you feel how the high-waisted pants made them feel, and the tighter shirts, and some of the patterns that were maybe itchier, things like that they wore because that's what they wore back then. And then the Letterman, that was just special. It's the same Letterman that they wore in the Grease movie, and there's a sweater that John Travolta, not the exact sweater, but that his character wore a version of in Greece, and getting to wear that was just so super cool. It just puts in perspective what a legacy we're a part of.
And you've brought so much nuance to Buddy's journey in season one as he struggles with the pressures from his father, the impact he and his words have on the rest of the school, kind of finding his place outside of sports. As an actor, how did you create the space for yourself to dive into his vulnerabilities?
Um, I just feel super grateful. I think the writing did so much of it for me. I think that is
Mm.
like the normal actor thing of, if the writing is good, it's really not hard to dive into that nuance. And I think there was this beautiful arc laid out for me already. And then from there, it was just all about staying open, and allowing myself to be taken by the journey, and to respect Buddy as this full person, and give him this emotional depth, and see that he really cares about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you're such a standout in this show. And with this being your biggest TV role to date, is there a particular scene or episode that you're really excited for audiences to see?
Oh, there's a few. There's a lot. There's some beautiful scenes in this show. I think for me, I'm most excited for episode 7. It follows kind of Buddy in the T-Bird's path throughout
Mm.
that time period. And I have a song in that episode and some big emotional scenes. So I'm excited for the world to see it.
Yeah, great teaser. And you're having a really banner year with Grease, The Outsiders musical, and the release of your new EP, Intrusive Thoughts. What inspired that four-song collection?
Um, I've been writing music for about 2 years. And for me, it's a lot of just wanting to get it out there. I'm currently working on an album. I
Yeah.
have 20 to 25 songs that I've written, some by myself, some with my dad, actually, who writes music with me. And for me, I wanted to put out a 4-song release that it ended up being called Intrusive Thoughts. And I felt like every song encapsulated this kind of intrusive thought that I had at that period of time, whether it be
Mm.
a positive one, like, hey, Haley, that is an intrusive thought about this good feeling that you have for somebody, or something like Happy That I Came, which is a little bit this intrusive thought about something that ended not so well. And um, for me, it's what I couldn't say to those people in those moments. So it's those intrusive thoughts. Yeah.
This might be a strange question, just give me your last answer, but if you had to choose one song that best encompasses who you are as an artist across the two EPs that you've released, which would it be and why?
Oh, that's awesome. I think for me it would be, there's 3 that come to mind. There's Hey Haley and Sunday Morning Love from the Intrusive Thoughts release, and there's Little Blue Worlds
Mm.
from Meet Me at Midnight release. Hey Haley, I think just has the spunk and the energy that I want to continue to bring to my music going forward in the future. And Sunday Morning Love, I think I really found the pocket of where my voice can sit really well in a song. And I wrote that with my roommate from college, who's the one who inspired me to start writing music in the first place. We got there freshman year, and he was just about to release his first album. And I was just so blown away by that. At such a young age, being able to write and release even on his own, even though he didn't have a lot of listeners at the time. It was just about the writing for him, and he inspired me to continue to write and to start to write, I mean.
Mm,
And I released music even though there was nobody listening to it and all that stuff. And I think there's just something special about the writing, and
yeah.
started me off in a way that, like, I'll write forever, no matter if people listen to it or if I release it. I'll be writing for the rest of my life, just because it's something that I love and it's something that's therapeutic for me. And he kind of started me out on that path, and I'm so grateful for that. And then Little Blue World was just a special song for me. It was kind of it brought me peace in the time that I wrote it in.
Mm.
And so, and kind of was the first song that really felt therapeutic to me, that I was like, oh, this is me releasing something that I've kept inside me for so long, and I'm able to release it by writing this song. So that one's super special too.
Yeah, it's two fantastic EPs and perfect segue to this next question. But actor musicians have often said that there's a different level of vulnerability that you need to tap into when you're releasing your own music. Do you feel similarly? And what have you learned as a singer-songwriter that you've been able to apply to your career as an actor and vice versa?
Yeah, I think I do feel similarly. I think there's a lot of vulnerability in acting, but I do think when you're writing music, I write about my own life. I write about circumstances that actually happened, and releasing that is hard. There's certain songs on Intrusive Thoughts that are about people that, or about situations that are still a little tender to me. And so I had second thoughts about releasing some of it, and I decided to release it anyway. And that was a little difficult, but I think there's something about the artistry of that as well, and the
Yeah.
vulnerability of that, that feels a little special to me. And then what has that taught me as an actor? I think the more you're able to be vulnerable in public settings or with people, the easier it becomes. And so I think releasing that music and continuing to put myself out there as a songwriter helps me as an actor normally, because it allows me to feel a little more comfortable in that vulnerability. And every time I step on set or stage to pour my heart out for the night,
Yeah.
I feel a little more able to do that, and a little more open to do that. And it feels a little more beautiful every time.
Like you were saying earlier, you're working on an album right now. Is there anything that you can tease about that project, what it might sound like, the message you're hoping to get across?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a lot along the lines of the Hey Haley Sunday Morning Love. Those are two different styles, but I think there'll be both of those styles in the album. And overall, I think it's just a culmination of the first 3 years of my songwriting. It's going to be the best picks from all of those years, and it's going to be special for me because it's I've been building towards it, and um, I've been wanting to release an album for a while. And so I think it'll be fun, and it'll be emotional and heart-wrenching, and it'll be vulnerable, and there'll be songs that will be hard to release, but I think when I release them, I'll be grateful that I did.
Mhm. And this is such an exciting time in your career. As you look ahead to the next 5 to 10 years, is there a dream role that you would love to bring to life on the stage or screen?
Oh, yeah, there's so many. I would love to do Jack Kelly from Newsies, um,
Mm,
Broadway roles at some theater somewhere, even if it's small. I want to do it. I just That's the role I want to do in high school. And so I feel like I owe it to my high school self to do it at some point. And then I would love to be like in the Marvel universe. Oh my goodness. I'm such a big super fan. And so someday that's the dream. Cyclops from the X-Men. I'm sure they've cast
that's
it
a
at
good one.
this point
Yeah.
secretively, but if it was still open, I'd love to play it.
I got one final question for you. In addition to your work that you've done as a musician, an actor, and a writer, you're also an advocate for mental health. Have you always known that you wanted to use your platform to kind of bring awareness to this cause?
Yeah, that came pretty early in my life. I had a best friend growing up who struggled with a lot of mental health issues, and um, so that just became a very big thing for me. And watching him go through that, and watching the help he wasn't able to receive, and his high school journey and things like that, and the way his peers treated him because they didn't understand what he might have been going through. Um, it just became important to me to make sure that everyone is seen and feels heard and has the help that they need to receive. Yeah.